Hello all and welcome to this community cast between Consul of Rome and Sly and Sneaky Seal. And as you can see, Consul of Rome is going to be in charge of the mighty Dowie led by Thorgrim, and Sly and Sneaky Seal is going to be in charge of the Lizardmen, Brennan Gorok, who is a new favourite at the moment for most Lizardman players it seems since the DLC. So let's have a little look at their armies. If you've seen any of my previous tournaments, you'd know both these players, and Consul of Rome is a very good player and likes to build these, bring these defensive builds. So of course the Dowie going to suit him perfectly. In the front line, he has gone hardcore as damn. He has brought two very hardcore units of Iron Breakers here. Let's see if either of them are chevroned up. Yes, one of them is in fact double chevroned. These guys are not going to budge at all. In the centre, however, he has only gone for some miners with blasting charges, so a bit of a weak core there. In the back, backing these guys up, he does have some Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. He has two of those and one standard unit of Dwarf Warriors. And in the middle, he has gone very heavy on the range units. 1, 2, 3 units of Iron Drakes who are chevroned up as well. It looks like just one chevron on... one chevron on one of them, 2 chevrons on the other one, and none on the middle one. These guys are coming in with their flame attacks, doing fantastic damage against skinks. Particularly those annoying great weapon skink as well, of course, are often picked against the Dowie. And in the back, he does have one of my favourite picks, which you don't see very often at all, is he has 2 organ guns, one here on the right-hand flank, then one in a slightly better position in this elevated little slot here, another organ gun. Now, organ guns can do a huge amount of damage, but they do struggle with line of sight and fairly short range. They kind of have the same problem as Hell Blasters for the Empire. Of course, we've seen that fixed in the latest DLC with the Regiment Round Wagon. Maybe the Dowie can get some kind of Zeppelin organ gun at some point, but pretty damn cool. Now, a pick we don't get to see very often is a Thane here, chilling in the middle. Looks like he's brought Deadly Onslaught and Foe Seeker. And for his leadership today, he has gone for Thorgrim Grudgebearer, the High King of the Dowie. Looking into his Book of Grudges there, looking rather grumpy. He has brought Stand Your Ground, Oath of Vengeance, which is a really nice ability, Foe Seeker, and High King, which is pretty damn cool. Now, he's going to need his Thane and the High King to hold that centre pocket, as these miners are going to fall rather quickly and allow these Iron Breakers to try and hold the line to get the best value out of these Iron Drakes, as he has a lot of ranged troops, but not too many combat troops to protect them. He also has, as we can see, scouted out here a gyrocopter, which has already done a little bit of work. Let's have a look at Sly and Sneaky Seal's army. In the front line, he has gone for 2 units of Chameleon Skinks. I really like these guys. Being able to deliver that poison really can help out, plus their missile resistance works fantastic against the Dowie. Now, for his main battle line, he has gone for Saurus Warriors with shields all across the front line, so no little skinks here. So the Iron Drakes are going to have a little bit of a hard time, but they will still do damage if they're allowed to fire, continuously, and these guys will really struggle breaking through those Iron Breakers. In the middle, we have Legion of Shakwa, Regiment Round Saurus with Spears, which have a real nifty little ability that we'll just highlight now, called the Shield of Shakwa, giving that 44% missile resistance, which can be huge, obviously, against the Dowie. On either flank, he has gone for 2 units of Cold One Riders. This is a really nice pick with effective cycle charging. They can do a decent amount of damage, but they do have to look out for Slayers and so forth. But as we've already seen, there are none of those kicking about, so they could be a huge problem for Consul of Rome. Now, he has also gone for a Skink Priest of Beasts here. Looks like he has gone for Transmutation of Kadon and Curse of Anir there. And he has gone for Gorok, the Great White Lizard, who is a hugely popular pick at the moment, much more popular than Nakai. In fact, I don't think I've seen Nakai used yet on multiplayer. I'm sure lots of people are trying him out. I haven't played too many games yet on the new patch, but Gorok seems to be a very popular boy indeed, being super tanky. He's brought Shield of Eons, Stand Your Ground, and Rock of Itzas. Without further ado, let's get this battle underway. So Chameleon Skinks are trading fire with some gyrocopters here, as the rest of the army is just moving up. Now let's see what these organ guns are targeting. It looks like they're just chilling at the moment. Either of them firing? No, they're waiting for stuff to get into range. I think one of them did initially blast some Chameleon Skinks in the face. So Gyrocopter is trying to chase off these Cold One Riders, and of course the Brimstone gun now has a bonus versus large, a quite hefty one. I think it got a plus 16 bonus versus large or something, which is very nice. So he's going to be chasing around these Cold One Riders, who are taking a very wide flank here, trying to stay out of range of those nasty organ guns. As we can see, some fire shots are already coming in, letting loose on these Saurus Warriors, doing a decent amount of work, but it looks like they have switched targets, possibly trying to head out this Skink Priest by the looks of it. which is not a bad shout. He is rather squishy. Now, this looks like the Orc Gun on the left-hand flank is starting to reposition to try and shoot at any Cold One riders who hunt it down. Chameleon Skink's been wasted slightly over here trying to chase down this gyrocopter. I think, to be honest, they should be kind of poking more near the front, as they're not going to be able to catch this guy too easily, as of course he can fly just over top of this mountain. This Cold One rider's taking damage all the while, though. They need to get in there. So all guns are firing back. Looks like they are hitting the Skink Priest, who has just summoned a Manticore. I'm sure that's going to be used to get on this back and try and shut down these troops. Now, the frontline engagement is going to go very well for the Dowie as far as the Ironbreakers are concerned. But he doesn't have too much that can protect his back line, which is a little bit of a worry. But you can see the huge amount of fire damage coming in from those blasting charges, and Iron Drakes just shrekking these Saurus warriors on the front line. And Thane and Thorgrim have popped up to support the little kind of soft pocket here of the miners. Iron Drakes getting in there. They won't do the huge amount of damage, but up to 11 kills isn't bad this early on, and if they're allowed to fire consistently, they would do very well. However, the line is slightly thin. As we can see, Saurus warriors are already starting to flood around the sides, and when these Cold One riders get in, they should do a decent amount of work. But as you can see, they've taken a huge amount of fire from the Orn Gun, coming in and just doing huge damage. 2 units already down to half health on this flank here. In the front, we do have Saurus warriors broken through, chasing down Iron Drakes and this Organ Gun crew. However, in the centre pocket, it's going a little bit better. Miners are struggling, but Thorgrim and this Thane are doing work, and together they can tag team Goruk like nobody's business. Up in the left flank here, Ironbreakers are starting to be supported by Dwarf warriors, and they're holding back 3 units very effectively. On the right-hand side, we have some Ironbreakers easily holding back these Saurus warriors. However, one Organ Gun has been taken offline. It looks like the first Manticore has gone down, but a second one has been summoned, and I have no doubt it's going to be appearing on top of this Organ Gun on the left-hand flank here. So the back line is compromised, but is it going to be enough? Are the Dowie going to be able to hold? The Lizardmen have taken an absolute punishment on breaking in here. As we can see in this little frontline fight going on here, the miners may have broken, but the High King and his Thane easily going to be able to beat the crap out of Goruk. He'll be able to hold for a decent amount of time, being a super tanky lord, but he cannot take on, 2 of these mighty Dowie heroes alone. I mean, 1-on-1, I think he can beat either of them, but 2, it's going to be a little bit too far for the Great Lizard. There's some fantastic cycle charging coming in all around the battlefield by these Cold One Knights, trying to break these Ironbreakers. And finally, it looks like these Chameleon Skinks are getting into a better situation where they're going to be able to pick off these Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. However, it looks like they're still desperately trying to get rid of these Gyrocopters. I mean, they do need to go offline because they're very good against the Cold One Riders. Maybe just send the Manticore after them and kind of scare it away from the battlefield, as these Chameleon Skinks really need to start poisoning some of these Dowie front line. On the right flank, it looks like these Ironbreakers may finally break. 2 Cold Ones constantly rear charging them, trying to break them off. The ones on the left flank, however, managed to hold strong. So let's see. Brimstone Gun still firing at Cold One Knights, which is cycling charging into the Dwarf Warriors now. But the Gyrocopters are slowly going down to these Chameleon Skinks, who still have a lot of ammo and should be fairly effective. It looks like one Organ crew has completely shattered by the looks of it, allowing these Cold One Riders now to roam unimpeded. Dwarf Warriors are starting to struggle in the middle, and it is literally just the Ironbreakers and this Hero Core which is holding. Iron Drakes, we'll have to see the stats at the end, but I don't know if they've managed to pay for themselves, as there just wasn't enough to protect them. You can see some Ironbreakers are easily going to deal with these rampaging Cold Ones on the left flank. The Cold Ones just don't have enough armor piercing to get through that. Chameleon Skinks are now firing into the back of these Dwarf Warriors, doing a huge amount of damage, really assisting these very kind of beaten up Saurus Warrior units to beat them down, and they should be able to chase them off the field fairly effectively with all the Cold Ones they have. Now, Goruk is still somehow holding. He does have Oath of Vengeance pop down on him, but Shield of Eons keep him in the fight. That plus 60 armor. He has been tanking these 2 heroes for a very long time, allowing the rest of the Lizardman army to clean up the battlefield. Chameleon Skinks have done enough damage here, mixing with the Saurus to break off these 2 units of Dwarf Warriors, and they're so beat up, I don't think they're going to be coming back to the fight anytime soon. Ironbreakers holding to the last here, down to 19 troops. Are they going to be able to hold? They've managed to rampage the Saurus Warriors, but they themselves are starting to waver. Only up to 37 kills. They don't do the most damage, but they have held for so long, trying to allow that shooting core to get online. But there is Lizardmen everywhere now rampaging on the battlefield. But if he allows Goruk to be killed here, this could cause trouble, as Fulcrum does not go down without a fight, and a lot of these units are very beat up. And in fact, Goruk does get slain here. It looks like the Thane was the one to deal the death blow. Fulcrum just turned his back on him. He wasn't even worth his effort. So the Dwarf Lord now is completely surrounded, but he may be able to drag this one out. I'm not convinced. The power balance may say the Lizardmen are in favour here, but I don't see what they have that can bring down Fulcrum apart from sheer attrition. Now it looks like Cycle Charging did manage to break down these Iron Breakers, and at last they have been driven off and finished off. They did not shatter though all the way to the last man there, they merely broke. In the background it looks like some Chameleon Skinks are going in for a charge, trying to shock these Dwarf Warriors into fleeing again, and that could maybe work there actually. I think that's quite a good idea, and it looks like those guys are starting to break. Those Chameleon Skinks really need to start focusing on Thorgrim, however, though he does have the Curse for near popped on him, but he is one tanky move though, especially with a Thane in tow as well, backing him up, who is currently dueling some Cold One Riders. As we can see, we just have the Skink Priest chilling on the side here, trying to keep this Lizardman force fighting, dropping Cold Bloods where he can. And let's see, we've got some rallying Iron Drakes on the side, but only 2 of them. Dwarfs love a good rally, and up in the hills, oh no, some Swords Warriors did just shatter, and these Miners aren't going to be coming back into the fray. So it looks like it is the one beleaguered unit of Ironbreakers who have chevroned up now, up to 100 kills, doing huge work against these Saurus Warriors. A few Iron Drakes who won't be too effective at this point. Thorgrim and the Thane against the world. Power balance slipping even heavier into the Lizardman favour here. However, they've got to be very careful. They have so many beat-up units, but there's not much they can do here. It is just going to be a grind. So some nice play here. Bringing these Cold One Riders out and just finishing off these Iron Drakes. Very good play. Just making sure you can clear up the scraps. Try and push that power balance even more in your favour to help break off these units. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit now, as it looks like it does become one massive grind. But as you can see, some of the Lizardman forces are breaking, but so does the Thane, and he's going to be getting chased off by the Cold One Riders. There's no chance he's going to return, and without him, the Dowie could really struggle. It's a very cool model, the Thane. Don't get to see him too often. Of course, Runesmith's a lot more popular, but he is going to be going down. The Iron Breakers still, though, has holding. They are like the Spartans from 300 right now, doing a huge amount of work, rallying to the kin Thorgrim here. They've managed to shatter, or break off at least, 3 Saurus Warriors here, and they may be able to do this yet, so let's fast forward a little bit more as this grind does carry on. It looks like the Thane was completely wiped out, allowing these Cold One Riders to come in and now just cycle charge. If I was them, I would probably just cycle charge the rear of the Iron Breakers, try and break them off the field and deal with Thorgrim last, because even if you finish him off, those Iron Breakers will hold. But at the moment, Thorgrim getting beaten up, but he's just holding so long. Cold One Riders are breaking off even with cycle charging. If we take stock of what's left, it looks like we have 2 units of Chameleon Skinks with some ammo. Looks like they're going to pull back and fire some shots into Thorgrim, which I think is a fantastic idea. And the rest of their forces are so beat up and broken, I don't think they're going to rally here. We have a Skink Priest, but he's not going to be in any kind of fit shape here to face such a mighty warrior as Thorgrim, or even these Iron Breakers, who now are silver chevrons. They've done so much work. 156 kills. Now, do the Skinks have enough ammo to finish off Thorgrim here? That's going to be pretty key. He's down to 848 health, but let's see how many volleys they have left each. 1 volley from this one and 3 volleys from the other unit. I don't think they've got enough. I think the Dowie may take this. It's been a ridiculous battle so far. Shots coming in, a lot of them missing, very unfortunately, there for the Chameleons. And let's see. 1 more volley coming in, doing a decent amount of damage. Down to 500 health. He is starting to waver here. -5 leadership if he breaks. But a stand your ground, very clutch play there. Keeping him in the fight, keeping him strong. And it looks like he has managed to survive those volleys. Now, he would have broken there if it wasn't for that stand your ground. But now the ultimate stare down does happen. These Chameleon Skinks don't really have any options. Yes, 1 unit can flank round perhaps and try and get a rear attack. But Thorgrim at 428 health. His leadership is 8. He's still wavering, but he's holding firm by the looks of it. Mixed in with his very, very loyal Iron Breakers here. And in come the desperate large charge Chameleon Skink. Thorgrim does pop Foe Seeker, popping up his speed and vigor a little bit. And he's just going to be slapping Chameleons left and right. But he is wavering. Currently dropped down to minus leadership there, but back up to 8 now. Down to 1, -2, -12. He is wavering all over the place. Power balance massively in favour of the Lizardmen for some bizarre reason. But Oath of Vengeance has been popped on the Skink Priest. And Thorgrim is just absolutely battering him. And with that, he is wavering himself. But it looks like the Dowie are going to hold this. This has been a pretty ridiculous battle, and somehow the Dowie King refuses to break, and it is a Pyrrhic victory for the Dowie. So let's have a little look at the end stats. Now, I really do like this Dowie build. However, there is just not enough melee troops to protect the back line. As you can see, 1 unit of Iron Drakes did do good, but the others did not pay for themselves. 1 of the Organ Guns did absolutely fantastic. The other one, again, though, there was not enough protection. But the High King, with those Iron Breakers, just managed to drag out a victory in the most Dowie style possible. Now, I quite like Sly and Sneaky Seal's build as well. Really like the Cold One play. Took a little while, though, unfortunately, to get them into the action. Plus the Chameleon Skins. And by that time, the Saurus had just taken too much of a beating to really be that effective, and that allowed the Dowie to just grind out the fight. So hope you guys enjoyed this community cast. If you guys do want to send in any battles that you want me to show up on the channel, just get in contact with me on Discord, on all the main kind of big Total War Discords, or message me down below in the comments and we'll try and get you on. My name on Discord, by the way, is still a Rubber Duck of War, same as it is as my channel. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. Super helps out the channel, and we're almost at 100 subscribers now. We're up to 84, so it'd be really cool to meet that milestone. So until next time, guys, stay awesome, peace, and I'll see you then.